Icons podcast, where we explore the legends who inspired generations. What if you were told you shouldn't even exist? That the world was against you from your very first breath? This is the story of a boy who was born into poverty, rejected, and yet, through sheer unbreakable will, conquered the world. We're talking about the phenomenon that is Cristiano Ronaldo, a journey not of talent alone, but of relentless discipline and a hunger that could never be satisfied. Welcome to the Sports Icons podcast, where we explore the legends who inspired generations. Right from the jump, we're setting a powerful tone here. Ronaldo's story isn't just about sports, it's framed as an epic, a story of conquest. And like all great stories, it doesn't start with triumph, it starts with a fight. So let's dive into that first chapter, Forged in Fire. This is all about his defiant heart, because his story really begins with an act of defiance, a fight against the very circumstances he was born into. And the reality behind this is incredibly harsh. His family was so poor, his mother actually considered not carrying him to term. He grew up sharing a single room with his 3 siblings. There were no toys, just a football. That ball became his entire universe, his one escape from a world that seemed set against him from his very first heartbeat. So you can see his early path was just this rapid climb, fueled by that same defiance. At his first club and arena, that hunger was already obvious. Then at Nacional, they called him Abelhinha, the little bee, because his talent already had a sting. But the defining test, that came when he was just 12 years old. He moves to Lisbon, all alone, mocked for his accent, totally isolated. He was so close to giving up, but his family pushed him to keep fighting for his dream. And just when it seemed like he was breaking through at Sporting Lisbon, he gets hit with a massive obstacle, a racing heart condition that needed surgery. For any young athlete, that's it. That could have been, and maybe should have been, the final whistle on his career. But his response was just extraordinary. We're talking mere days after a heart surgery, he was back on the pitch, training. It was this unbelievable display of resilience, proof that nothing, not even his own body, could stop his ambition. And that ambition took him to the world stage, Manchester United. But this wasn't some story of instant success. No, this was a grueling transformation. This is where he went from a raw, flashy talent, a circus act, into an unstoppable force under the legendary Sir Alex Ferguson. The pressure on him was immediate and just immense. Manchester United paid a record £12.2 million for a teenager. And then Sir Alex handed him the iconic number 7 shirt, the one worn by legends like George Best, Cantona, and Beckham. The weight of history was literally on his shoulders. And yeah, at first he struggled. The English press, the opponents, they labeled him a circus act, a showman with no end product who dived too much. But while they were mocking him, he was secretly transforming himself, staying late after training, day after day, honing his skills and building his body into an absolute weapon. Then, a personal tragedy became a catalyst. The death of his father in 2005 from alcoholism seemed to strip away any youthful immaturity he had left. It was replaced by a cold, all-consuming obsession for victory. And that obsession was tested after the 2006 World Cup. An on-field incident with his United teammate Wayne Rooney made him public enemy number 1 in England. But instead of crumbling under all that hatred, he channeled it. He used the boos and the slurs from every stadium he went to as fuel for his performance. The result of that transformation was an explosion. In the 2007-08 season, he scored an incredible 42 goals. 42! He led Manchester United to Champions League glory and secured his very first Ballon d'Or. The circus act had become a king. His next chapter took him to Real Madrid, and this is where his personal ambition became a war against history itself. This era would be defined by absolute dominance and that epic, unforgettable rivalry with Lionel Messi in Barcelona. And the scale was just monumental. Another world record fee, 94 million euros. But this time, it felt different. Real Madrid wasn't just buying a great player, they were acquiring a force they believed would guarantee them dominion over all of European football.
And the numbers, they're just staggering. More goals than games played, 4 more Champions League titles, 4 more Ballon d'Or awards. This wasn't just success, it was a relentless, almost mathematical conquering of the sport.
This gesture just captures his mentality perfectly. After scoring a winning goal at Barcelona's home stadium, Camp Nou,
He turned to nearly 100,000 rival fans and did this. A single motion to declare his authority on their own turf. Just incredible.
You see, in this war against history, his greatest weapon was the Champions League. While the debate with Messi raged on, Ronaldo made this competition his own, culminating in an unprecedented 3 consecutive titles with Madrid. So after conquering Madrid, his battle shifted. It was no longer against rivals or critics. Now, it was against his own legacy and the one opponent no athlete can ever defeat: time.
I mean, what drives a person like this after they've proven everything there is to prove? The motivation has to shift, right? It goes from accumulating accolades to cementing a permanent, unshakable legacy. And his strategy was clear. Moves to Italy, a return to England, and then that groundbreaking transfer to Saudi Arabia. These weren't about winding down. They were campaigns to conquer new territories, expanding his influence, and proving his greatness was independent of any single club or league. His focus had broadened. He was now setting a global standard for professionalism, for discipline, and for longevity that future generations will be measured against. He was shaping the very definition of what a modern athlete could be. And this became his ultimate status. Continued success, even into his late 30s, felt less like an achievement and more like a law of physics. The goals, the records, they were no longer surprising. They were simply what he did. They were inevitable.
Ultimately, Ronaldo's legacy isn't just in the record books, it's carved into the very idea of ambition. He showed the world that greatness isn't a gift, but a choice, one you have to make every single day. Thank you for joining us for this look into the will of a true champion. Be sure to subscribe for more daily sports stories. You've been listening to the Sports Icons Podcast, celebrating greatness one legend at a time.